Hi, Gina. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. All right. So, for those listeners who don't know Gina Micheletti, she's Gina dot does my hair on the IG. You're a Nashville hairdresser who focuses on hair extensions. You're on a reality show called Married at First Sight, season 16. It's on Netflix and Hulu, I believe. And I think Lifetime. We'll get all those details, but after I finish my intro. And you have a podcast called D-List Diaries with a couple other lady friends of yours that sounds kind of interesting. I listened to some of it. And you have a line of hair extension products and various things called Slay Bay.
Yep. So Slay Bay is actually my salon. So I own a commissioned salon. There are
Awesome.
7 of us. So I've slowly over the last 2 years transitioned more into salon owner and less of stylist. But I am still considered, the talent too. So I do hair as well, 2 to 3 days a week, and I've got my team. And then we've got a hair extension brand. I worked for Bellamy for 5 years.
Okay.
And then kind of went out on my own.
As like a ambassador educator.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was cool. When I started with Bellamy educating, I think there were 7 educators before me.
Yep.
Now I think they've got like hundreds. They've blown up. But I did about 5 years with them. Got to travel all over the country.
Yep. You got to know Julius.
I did. Yep. Got to know Julius. So that was good. And then just slowly transitioned into kind of like private labeling my own hair and launching my own education. So behind the chair, I do primarily K-tips and wefts. So
Very cool. Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's start from the beginning. Where are you from originally, and how did you get into hair?
I was born in Fort Smith, Arkansas. I typically don't claim it. I only lived there.
Well, you don't claim Fort Smith, or you don't claim Arkansas, or both?
Both. But they're actually, who is it? Tara Harvell. She has that massive hair extension brand. I forget. It's like on the tip of my tongue now. It's not Covet in Maine. Harper Ellis, like one of those big ones.
Okay.
She's actually from Fort Smith, Arkansas. So
Well, there you go.
crazy. Good things come out of
Between
there.
you and her, there's something redeemable coming out of
Coming
Fort
out
Smith.
of Fort Smith. I moved to Memphis in 3rd grade, so I grew up in Memphis, Tennessee. And then went to University of Alabama, graduated with a broadcasting degree. But I'd actually grown up in salons. So my mom was always the one nail tech in a hair salon, which I think we need to bring that back. It was like people sleep on the nail tech in the hair salons.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good
agree.
one. Yeah, so
I agree.
she
They
was
don't
always
even
around
need to try.
stylists.
There's all these clients.
Yeah. And it's so easy. Like, everybody wants their nails done while they get their hair
Right.
done. So it's easy.
100%.
So she actually did nails at first in a tanning salon when tanning was like the thing. And I would hang out all day and like clean tanning beds and check people out. And grew up with a single mom. So I was just always kind of hanging out in the salon. Was one of those that was under the pretense that you don't really make money and there's no job security in hair. And so decided to do the college thing. And I always just found myself back around hairstylist. Like that was who I connected with the most. And so after college, I decided to go to hair school, and then the rest is kind of history.
Okay, so in college, you chose broadcasting because you wanted to be a what?
So
Like on TV broadcaster?
Yeah, in high school I chose broadcasting. So my high school had this crazy like multi-million-dollar television program, and so
Wow.
I did TV and theater. So I did a lot of musical theater. That kind of got me in hair and makeup too. All through high school, and then that was kind of like the next step. And then truly, I think by the time I finished school, I was like ready for a career change because I started it at like
That's
13.
funny.
I was like, all
So
right, it's
no-
time for something different.
So no interest in being a broadcaster.
It was fun. I guess the most I've been on TV now is reality, but it was good.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So you went to hair school, you graduated, you started working in salons, and did you feel comfortable in front of the camera, obviously, right? Did you start your Instagram kind of early and things like that? Were you natural at putting yourself out there?
Yeah, I almost wish going back that I would have done even more of it. I mean, in hair school, I was bartending first. I bartended down on Broadway. Are you familiar with Nashville? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The, like,
Yeah, a little.
bachelorette capital. So I bartended in one of the like big ass honky tonks for 7 years.
Wow.
And I did that while I was building my book of business. Because, you know, with hair, you don't just like graduate school and you're making money. You got to really work for it. So did that. But I remember when I moved to Nashville in 2012, that's when social media was like getting a little more prevalent. And, I even remember you'd put up hashtags and it'd be like whatever you're doing. It'd be like hashtag drinking a coffee. Like everything you're doing, it was like whatever you're doing that day. I'd worked in a commission salon and then I kind of became an independent and hopped into a suite. And so I had my own studio. And that's when I really started just hitting it on social media. I was like, this is a good way to advertise. And I would say that I built the majority of my clientele through social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Just posting your work?
Yep, just posting my work. And I think today it's still kind of the same thing that I tell my stylist is like, you can't just post and assume that people are going to like show up at the door, but you can use it as your gallery. So for me, I've always been like a yapper. I can talk to a brick wall. So every time I would meet someone, it's like, oh, follow me on Instagram or, you know, let's be friends. And from there, they would see social media and be like, oh, she's actually like good at hair. So that's really how I built, was not so much posting to get clients, but posting so that when I met people, they found credibility in my work.
Totally. And so I assume that you met a lot of potential clients or people who became your clients, probably long-term clients, when you were working at the honky tonk. Is that what you called it? Did you call it a honky tonk?
It is a honky tonk.
Did I just make that up?
The name of it is literally Honky Tonk Central.
Okay.
That is the name of the bar. But all the bars on Broadway, they call them honky tonks.
Yeah.
Did you say you're from Dallas?
I'm from Dallas, yeah, but I haven't spent that much time in Nashville. I've been there maybe 2 or 3 times. I've been downtown and I've been on Broadway, but I tend to stay with a friend of mine who lives south, maybe 30 minutes. And what's the place called where he lives?
What, like Franklin or Spring Hill or?
Yeah, south of Franklin actually.
Columbia.
Just south of,
yeah.
And anyway, it doesn't matter, but I like it a lot. I like it a lot there. And so you said Bachelorette Capital. So wouldn't the Bachelorette Capital be Vegas?
No.
Or is that just Bachelorette Capital of the West?
No, we became known. I remember distinctly when I started working downtown within 2 years, we were like, why are all these girls coming here with like cowboy hats and like they would have like t-shirts on that said the bride's last ride. Like everything was like a country bachelorette crazy party. And it still is. I don't know if you'd ever been to like, have you been to Tootsie's? Does that ring a bell when you came to visit?
I don't think so. No.
We got to get you back.
Am I missing out?
We got to get you back. Well, Tootsie's is like a world famous honky tonk. Everyone that comes to Nashville, they want to go to Tootsie's.
Okay.
But it's a lot of tourists. So I didn't necessarily gain a lot of clientele from people that were coming to the bar as much as I did from girls that I worked with, because our staff was like 85 people. So
makes sense.
The girls had money. They had cash and they wanted hair extensions.
Cash.
Yeah.
Exactly. Leaper's Fork is what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Leaper's Fork.
Really pretty.
Yeah, really pretty.
But
all
yeah,
right, so
hair extensions thing just really started popping off with bartenders and musicians down there, because they all they wanted to spend their money on fresh hair, and it wasn't such a big niche, I don't think, in Nashville when I started doing it. There weren't a lot of people doing hair extensions then.
Okay, and all of a sudden you started gaining a good clientele, and that's how it happened for you, which is awesome. And I love to talk about stuff like that because we have a lot of different hairdressers who listen to the show. Not just those who have been around and have been successful in their own right, but also new hairdressers and also people in school. So I always love to talk about how people gain a clientele because it's always a little bit different for everybody. So I love that story. Okay, so as you've developed your clientele, all of a sudden you started, you've been rather ambitious here. So you've got a salon, you've got a staff, you have a line of products, you're on a reality show, you have a podcast. So put those in sequential order for me. Which one came first?
The first thing I guess I was a stylist first, and then I became an educator. Then I started adding on employees. So when I was in suites, I was like that unicorn that had, it started with me and just like an apprentice. And then I started adding on, once I started educating, people would reach out like, are you hiring? And I was like, this is weird. I'm in suites, like, I guess. And so then I started hiring people.
Oh, we definitely have people in
Yeah.
our studios who have staff, for sure.
And then fast forward, and I had at one point like 2 double suites and a large. So my rent was truly like $8,000 a month inside suites, but we had no real reception area, no retail space. I was like, we need some storage. So then I became salon owner, I guess, in the suites, but eventually leased out brick and mortar. And suite salon owner and salon owner are very different. I've learned that in the last 2 years.
How so?
I think it's just, when you are a leasing owner in a suite, and I remember my suite manager telling me this, like, are you sure? I mean, the cost is like 10x what it is in a suite. Like, everything's way more expensive when you become a salon owner, and the risk is a lot heavier than just leasing out a suite. Suites are lucky. Everything's like covered for you. I would say in the last couple of weeks, we've had like flooding. We had an arson fire at my building like 2 weeks ago. And I was very thankful that we didn't like lose the property, but just a lot more responsibility, I would say. But yeah, and smack dab in the middle of that. And as I was transitioning from suite to big salon owner, is when I did the reality show. So that was like at the exact, that was crazy.
Wow.
I was building out while I was marrying a stranger at the same time.
Oh my God.
She's
that's
risky.
Crazy. Wow. Okay. So, wow, where do I go from there? So I mean, so many questions are all in my head at the same time. So you moved your business from a studio to a storefront, big storefront, and at the same time that you started filming a reality show, which of course are two big things to happen at the same time, but they can be complementary, right? I mean, that's good for marketing, right?
It was. I'm going to throw you for like a total loop too, because you're going to be like, you're going to be mind blown. So I had signed the lease to move into my like bigger space at the end of 21. And then I was waiting for permits for like 6 months. I didn't know I was going on the show yet. I didn't know until summer of 22. But I had signed this lease, found my contractor, made my architectural plans, all the things. We started build out, and basically this contractor that I had trusted with my life overshot my budget by like 300%. So he told me it was going to be like $150,000 for a build out. My leasing company legit had me fire him because once they got the contract that he had given me, they were like, this guy's like, you can't use him. And I had it rebid. My lowest bid was like $495. My highest was like $650 for just construction. And I thought it was going to be like $150. So I'm dealing with all of that, like thinking I had a space, but I really didn't. And also being like, all right, I have to pull out of this lease. Like I can't afford. At this point, it was going to be like over $700,000 just to build and like get the furniture and everything. So I had to pay a pretty substantial amount just to break the lease while we were in the midst of filming. So I lost like $100,000, like gone in the blink of an eye while we're like filming. And then I was able to get into the place that I'm in now, but it was crazy. Like it actually was, the show I think was a pretty good distraction from all of that because I was so busy every hour of the day that I truly didn't have time to stress about, okay, what the heck am I going to do? Like I just lost all this money. It was like, I've always kind of been the person that's like high capacity for stress. So I was like, all right, we just got to press on, but at least I'm going through this scenario. Sorry, my dog, can you hear him?
Yeah, that's okay.
I've always
We're
been
a dog-friendly show.
Okay, good. Always been like high capacity for stress. So I don't know. It was a good distraction to be able to like work through that and know, okay, in hindsight, I would have lost a lot more if I built out there than I did breaking the lease. And then once we
really quick, let me just throw in, maybe it'll make you feel better, but real estate and construction, I've been, for decades, I call them blood sports because you could lose your face so easily, and it happens all the time. People don't understand the commitments they're making. They don't understand that just because a contractor says $190,000 doesn't mean that it's not going to be $500,000.
Crazy.
And it's usually $500,000 when they say $190,000. And it's like, you can't just say no because you're already committed. And people
It's
get
scary.
their faces ripped off all the time. It's just, that's why I call them blood sports.
It was, yeah. I mean, I luckily, like, I've, been through a lot in life, as I'm sure most people have. So I was like, okay, for me, like, failure is just not really an option. It's not. I'm like, all right, we just got to pivot and figure it out. I'm always thinking worst case. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, worst case scenario, I can always bartend at Honky Tonk Central. Like, I will find it out. I'm not going to get kicked on the streets. But it was definitely probably the most stress I've ever felt. And then you go into salon ownership and you're used to being like the highest producer in your suite. And you're like, this is awesome. I'm making like 12 grand take home doing extensions. And then you're like, oh, wait, but like now I have this whole team that's not producing this, but my overhead's like 40. Like, I can't pay for all this stuff. So I truly had to pivot also from being like hairstylist to like, all right, I got to be CEO now because this ain't going to work with just me doing hair and producing a lot of money anymore. Like, I've got to train these people to do it. Right. So that's where we're at now. I've almost recovered from that situation, and I've learned a shit ton from it, which is nice. And I'm honestly like in the process of getting my real estate license just for the knowledge. And like, I just want to know, like, as I sign things, exactly what I'm signing. So
yeah. Right. I mean, you have to become an accountant and an attorney, and you have to become an ass kicker to the contractors and to the people who work for you and to all these things. Otherwise, you get your face ripped off.
Yep.
And thanks for sharing all that. And sorry that you went through it. But yeah, you've learned a lot. And so how did this reality show thing happen? And hopefully that helped maybe with some of the marketing of your salon and your business. Hopefully that took some of the edge off. It
helped a little bit. If you can't tell, I'm a little bit of a daredevil. Like, no risk, no reward. And I truly did. Like, I went into the show. They had reached out like via Instagram when they were coming to town because it's based on cities. So it's similar to Love is Blind. If you've ever watched that show, it's like, honestly, it's the same production company. So it's pretty much the same situation, but we just get married first.
Okay, so hold on for the listeners in case anyone missed the first part. Married at First Sight. Mm-hmm. This has been on for 16, or at least your season was season 16, so it's been out there. And so some of our listeners are like, duh, I've seen it 40 times. And some of them are probably like, never heard of it. I had never heard of it. It's on Netflix. It's on Hulu. I think you mentioned Lifetime. Mm-hmm. It's been on. But,
that's its like mother network. So it's one of those shows that it airs. It is similar because most people know Love is Blind. So it's the same. It's called Kinetic Production Company. That's who like makes the show. And so they make Love is Blind. The difference in Love is Blind is they like date in the pods. Then they like move in and do their thing for 8 weeks. Then at the wedding, they say yes or no. So Married at First Sight, we go through like a ton of like background. I mean, I thought I was filling out paperwork for like 2 weeks straight, which they're trying to find you a husband. Like they want to know as much as they can, but it's like these matchmaking experts. They find you supposedly your perfect match and you meet at the altar. And so you meet at the altar, you get married.
For the first time.
For the first time. You're like shaking hands.
Hold on.
Like,
do you know, do they even tell you their names? Do you see their pictures? Do you know anything about them before you meet at the altar?
No, I did find out, but typically I was the only one on my season and maybe like one of the only ones that ever has prior, because the man that they matched me with lived in my apartment building. And so, yeah.
What? No way.
So,
wait, did they know that?
So much. Oh yeah, it was totally planned. Like,
of course they knew.
It was part of the story. But my apartment
Had you met
building,
him before?
He looked like somewhat familiar, but no. So the apartment building is a luxury high-rise in downtown Nashville, and half of it is condos and half of it is apartments. So we don't even share an elevator. There's like a wall in between. The condos are rentals too, like they rent and own, and we like share pool and dog park and all of that, but we have different elevators. And so they come before, like in the very early stages, they come and do an apartment visit. So they did my apartment visit. Well, then the next day I was out walking my dog and I like caught eye with a production van. I was like, why are they here again? And I was like, oh my God, they're about to tell me like that because at that point they hadn't told me yet I was picked. So I was like, they're about to tell me right now that I'm picked. Like they're surprising me. So I see my producer and I was like, hey, Nicole, like, my phone's upstairs. Like, did you want some? She was like, oh no, we're just getting some footage of the building. Like, we're good. Well, I was like, there's no way. Like, my degree is in this. I know that they're not sending like 14 vans to come get like a little footage of the building. I was like, they're interviewing somebody up there. So my friend and I go into the gym, which overlooks where all the vans are like parked. And we watch them go in and out of the condo side like for like an hour and a half. So I was like, I know that they're in there interviewing somebody. So I go downstairs. Long story short, I asked Paco, the valet guy, like, hey, what are they doing up there? And he was like, oh, they're interviewing some old guy. That's what he said.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, how old? Like, how old? He was like, oh, he's like 42. And I was like, oh, that's like right in my alley. Like, we're good. Like, I'm pushing 40.
Okay,
We're good.
I was hoping you were going to think that was not old.
I'm like, I'm 30. I'm 37. We're good. We're good.
Okay.
At that point, I was like 36, but I was like 40's like, we're okay. And he told me his name. So then, of course, I look him up. I see like his LinkedIn and stuff. And at that point, they kept alluding to this like Italian man that they had for me. And this guy was not Italian. And I was like, that can't be him. But like, he's probably just.
That was his code name.
Yeah, I was like,
Italian
he's probably
man.
just someone, like another one of the guys that's on the show. Then the day before we got married, because there's 3 separate days they did weddings. So I was like right in the middle. That day I had a girl that I had do hair for all the weddings. I like set her up to work on the show. And she told me, she was like, one of the producers said that one of the couples getting married tomorrow lives in the same apartment building. So I lucked out. I figured it out like the day before. So wasn't as shocked when I saw him, but it was a time.
So you had some background on him.
A little bit, yeah.
And that's unique. So I guess the production company screwed up a little bit there. So tell us about the experience of walking onto the set and meeting him for the first time.
I honestly feel like I like blacked out. It was crazy because you're there all day. They had him standing up there apparently for 2 hours, like just waiting. And the families are sitting in there.
I've done some of these productions.
They want you to like pace and pant and be
like,
like, oh, like they want you to look stressed, right? So they're gonna make you sit there all day. So like by the time I walked in, our families were like the best of friends. They had all been hanging out all day together. Like everyone had their phone taken away. So it's like when you're stuck in an airport together, like they all were friends. So but we had like a actually really fun wedding because everyone was just kind of like, we're up for the challenge. Like, this is the craziest thing we've ever done, so we might as well make the most of it. So we had a really, really fun wedding. And him and I, like, so you do the wedding, and then you're actually sequestered for, like you're put in a hotel room for, like, 4 or 5 days, separated from each other and separated, like, from the world. Because the whole crew then flies to where your honeymoon is. And they don't want you to do anything. They don't want you talking at all, not on camera, because they want to get everything for the first time on camera. So they're like, we're going to put you in your rooms. Me and the girls like snuck out the whole time. But they put you, we had like a hotel mom.
Went to Tootsie's.
Yeah. We had like a hotel mom that's supposed to like order our food for us. Like we weren't supposed to leave the room for like 4 or 5 days. And the guys were in a totally different hotel. So like we weren't even supposed to talk to anybody. So the crew goes down to our honeymoon, which is in Jamaica. And we did 5 days in Jamaica. And then you come home, move in for 8 weeks, and you move into like shared apartments. They don't want you to move into yours or his because then someone might have like the more comfortable advantage. So they put you in a neutral apartment.
Got it. And one where they can film everything.
Oh, yeah. The production all lived there. Yeah. So everyone lived in the same building in case something like, popped off in the middle of the night. And then at the end of it, you have your decision day. So the decision day is whether you decide to stay married or get a divorce. That's like the finale pretty much of the show.
Okay. So this is obviously very uncomfortable and very unnatural, which is the point of the entire thing. And I'm imagining the discomfort. First of all, I mean, you have to take what, 3 weeks? I don't know. How long do you have to take off of work?
So we only took off 2 weeks, and then we went back to work.
Okay. So you take off 2 weeks from work, and you have to move it. You go to a vacation basically with a stranger. Yeah. And you have a bunch of strangers around you in the crew who are filming you getting to know a stranger. And I mean, it must be the most awkward of situations. So what was your experience doing that with this guy? Like the nitty gritty. Like, was it, you seem to be a very social person, so you probably made the best of it.
100%. He's the same way. So we laugh because we're like, we both have somewhat similar personalities. Like, we're very logical. We're not like super reactive. So we kind of went with the flow. And at that point, I would say even after day one, it's not going to get more awkward ever in my whole life. Like, I'll never experience anything more awkward than I have ever. The worst part I think about our situation was that him and I both agreed that we just weren't into each other. So we like didn't really have any chemistry. Pretty early on. We just couldn't like get there. We never felt attracted to one another. And the worst part is that they know that they're onto that very early on. And so they're not going to let you talk about anything else other than why aren't you guys attracted to each other? So that's the most uncomfortable part. Like,
that's what the watchers want to know.
Oh my God. So that's the most uncomfortable part. And you see these TV shows and like I can spot it from a mile away now because I've been in it where, you know, they're filming people and people are just so visibly uncomfortable. And it's not even because of the person that they're like matched with. It's because the conversation that isn't like people always say, is it scripted? I'm like, it's not scripted. It's prompted. Like they're going to make you ask questions that you don't want to ask. And even in a group setting, you know, they'll pick up their phones and have like a question written in like large, like scrolling across the screen, like, you know, ask if so-and-so's had sex or like whatever it is. And they just hold it up and wave it around until someone makes eye contact with it. And someone's normally going to be like, all right, I'll ask it. So we had one girl that always took one for the team. Like we'd be like, all right, Nicole's got this one because no one else wants to ask that question. And It was so funny because in the edit she got is that she was in everybody's business.
That's funny.
But we always knew it was because she's like taking one for the team, you know? So,
right. So they tell you what to talk about. They don't tell you what to say exactly, but they tell you what to talk about.
Yeah, it's very much like it's an interview. It's like, you know, how are things going? And it's within hours. It makes you like, are you guys attracted yet? Like, well, why not? Like, what do you find unattractive? Like, what? I got in big trouble because I had said something about him being a ginger and how I wasn't really like attracted to redheads. Yes.
Oh, well, how did that not get into the interview mix? I mean, when they interview you, they ask you a lot of questions and everything.
Oh, it did.
You did say that. You said you weren't attracted to redheaded guys, and they chose a redheaded guy for you?
100%. Why would they do anything different?
Well, that's bullshit.
Okay, but, I mean, the whole thing is like, I did say that, but also I was like, you know, I'm a big advocate for like, I know that attraction can grow. And so I'm very much like, if I'm attracted to someone's personality and the way they treat me and like all these things, I probably could have like seen past the color of his hair, right? Like maybe not my first in like a lineup that I'm initially attracted to, but I was very much open to the idea of attraction growing based off of like connection, personality. Humor is probably my biggest thing, but and that for us,
was he funny?
He was funny, but his jokes didn't always land with me. So like our humors kind of like barely missed each other. So, but he's had a girlfriend for like 2 years, and I know she's got to think he's funny.
I hope so. Okay, so when you're there with him, well, first of all, you knew that he was an option for who you were going to be presented with in advance. So did you see him on LinkedIn, like you said, and you're like, oh, geez, I hope. Yeah. So you already were unattracted to him before he was even an option. And then, so you're kind of disappointed when you first went onto the set to see him standing at the altar.
I was a little nervous for sure. I remember my friend and I, we got to stay in this like beautiful suite the night before the wedding. And that's when we found out. It was literally the night before that it was like confirmed that it was him. Because I had an inkling that they were interviewing someone in the building. I didn't know that's who I was matched with until like the night before. Because my hairstylist had told me. And my friend and I were like looking at his Facebook, and she was like, sis, he's got a boat. Like, we were like trying, because I was like, I just don't know that I'm attracted to him. He's like a very avid sailor, which I also thought was funny in Nashville. I was like, people can sail boats in Nashville. I had no idea. But cool. She was like, we were trying to look for all these things that like, okay, well, he could be nice. Like, we don't know. So he wasn't, to me, he wasn't even unattractive. Like, I think Clint, that's his name, Clint, is a very attractive dude. I think that had our personalities, like the chemistry been there at all, it probably could have worked, but we just could not. We never felt any type of spark.
Okay, what's his last name? Clint what?
Webb.
Clint Webb, W-E-B-B. Clint Webb, married at first sight, right here. Oh, he's an attractive guy.
He's not a bad-looking dude. He got Bradley Cooper a lot. People thought he looked like Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, I see that. Absolutely. Let's see, where are you, Clint? There he is.
And his hair's not like it's not like red. You know, like it's reddish.
Yeah, it's red-ish. It's really only, well, yeah, okay. So his beard is a little red, which kind of makes it a little more red. He's athletic looking. He looks like he's in good shape.
Yeah.
You know.
Not bad shape.
Let's see. Yeah. So the beard it makes a big impact on his appearance because it's thick, right? It's a thick beard.
Something that was so funny that a lot of people, I think, talked about was that he's just not very, he's like outdoorsy for sure. There was this ongoing joke that he was like, oh, I never get my hair cut. I cut it in the kitchen with my scissors or what, you know, like he just,
yeah, that's not funny.
I learned very quickly that I like someone more groomed. So like my boyfriend, I have a boyfriend now, he gets a haircut like every 2 weeks. And Clint, we had his haircut on the show. I'll have to send you a photo of it because it looked so good. I'm like, if you just like do a little more, I don't know. Yeah. Like I didn't even realize I cared about that until I was in it. And I was like, this guy needs to get like a haircut. We need to get some beard oil.
Yeah.
And he really had a glow up during the show when we did all that.
He did have a glow up.
Not anymore. So he doesn't do it anymore. He's back to the same hair.
All right. So anyway, it wasn't quite happening.
It wasn't.
The personality thing. How much of the disconnect on the personality is due to the awkwardness of having a crew around, knowing that if you look or say or act stupid, it will forever live on the interweb TV.
I don't even know that we like took a second to really. It happened so fast. They always say that. They're like, it's going to happen so fast. But when you're in the middle of it, you're like, this is like so slow. Like, get me out of here. But it did. It happened so fast that you're just trying to get through it day to day. And him and I, like, we really did make a pact to, like, stick it out. We were like, okay, there could be, like, a spark by the end of this. It's 8 weeks. Who knows what could happen? Like, we could end up liking each other. Where, you know, this is just kind of crazy. But I think the cameras definitely made it difficult. Because it is awkward to an extent. You finally just forget they're even around. It's like your normal life. It feels weird when they're gone. You're like, oh wait, the cameras aren't going to follow us around anymore.
Really?
Yeah, they're there all day. Like we would film on Saturday morning. They'd get there. They'd mic us up at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We film till like 10 o'clock at night.
Whoa.
And you can't like watch TV or listen to music or anything that's going to mess with audio. It's like this. So it's like, it's just awkward. But
Okay, so and I'm fascinated by this. So just you can't watch TV? Like if you have a spare hour, you can't just like
we could, but not really, no. We had to find fun stuff to do. We're like, okay, let's like cook tonight, or we went to like the PBR tournament one time. Like that was really fun. Like we had to like
professional bull riding. Yeah. I knew what that was. Boom.
We had to find things to do. I wanted to show you this. I don't know if you could see it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That's him with like a good haircut.
So this was his glow up?
Yeah. Oh, dang it. I can't
Oh,
even
for
see it.
sure. His hair's like my length a little bit. in
Yeah,
that
it's
picture.
nice. We had it cut on the show. Everything was like shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
was,
And his beard was
it
tamed
was
a little bit.
tamed. Yeah, had a little oil in it.
Yeah.
Who knew
Okay.
that I liked someone that had a little more like grooming, like just a little. We called it swag on the show. I always got in trouble because he was like, "You think I don't have swag?" I was like, "No, I don't think you have swag."
Okay. So that comment right there leads me to my major question, which is, in this situation, there's the dynamic of who is going to say something negative or positive about the other person first. If you say there's risk in doing so, there's risk in saying something positive because, like, I'll say it this, there's risk in him saying something positive to you because you may say something negative about him, and that immediately creates a dynamic where he likes you, you don't like him, he looks like a loser. Boom, done. Mm-hmm. Horrible situation. And vice versa. Like if you liked him a lot and he said something negative about you, you would have felt like an idiot, right?
Right.
So how do you navigate that situation? I mean, it's kind of like, actually, you know what it reminds me of? My daughter, who's 13 years old, she's in middle school. And everyone's trying to figure out
like
what it means.
Like
yes,
tiptoeing
everyone
around it.
Right. And if you like one of the boys in class, or if you're a boy and you like one of the girls in class or whatever, you can't, it's very risky to put yourself out there because you can look bad in front of everybody in the class. In this case, you can look bad in front of everybody watching the show for years and years.
I'm going to blow your mind, Eric.
Oh, no.
So we had this happen on our honeymoon very early on. And it's inevitable because they're going to ask you the same question in 16 different variations until you finally start to say it. And then once they hear like an inkling of it, they're just going to keep prodding until you eventually say it. So that's when our big like ginger situation happened because they were like, well, let's talk about hair color. Like, you might not like redheads. And I was like, yeah, like I'm not typically attracted to redheads, but that's fine. You're trying to like tiptoe, like that's fine.
Right.
And he's like, oh, well, I'm usually into like blondes. And my hair was very dark on the show. It's a lot lighter now. But he's like, I'm into blondes. And we're like, yeah, that's good. Like, no big deal. But, then they ask like, well, what do you mean by like redhead? Like, what do you mean? Like they ask questions that you're like, well, I said it the right way. Like, how do I think of a different way? And so I think the phrase that I said was like, I guess I just don't vibe with like gingery features. Like I couldn't, and that's the clip that they got. So that was like,
you used the G word.
Features. And then,
yes.
The Reddit went crazy. It was the craziest thing they've heard. And then within the same like trip, they had asked him something in front of like all the girls and the guys, like a group setting. And he is like, typically the girls that I've dated are slender and athletic.
Oh, what? You're slender and athletic.
I swear. And so the whole, like, all the girls, like, just catch on fire. You could see all of them, like, what? This guy is, like, a jerk. And so he walked right into that. There was, like, a bunch of drama and on the honeymoon. And I'm not sensitive typically. So, like, that comment was like, wait, what? Like, to me, I was like, I am slender and athletic. Like, I didn't even take it, like, upsetting. I was just like, what? Like, I could school you in the gym. Like, I was like, irritated.
Yeah, you're like, fuck you, asshole.
Exactly. But then I was like, all these other women are like very offended by this. And so I was like, can you not read the room? That's like not something you talk about. So that was a scenario.
But he had to kind of, because of the ginger comment, he felt like he had to do something. He had to salvage his, I don't know, what is it, dignity, pride?
I don't know, man. But it's interesting
That's the
too.
risk.
And you watch it back and it's like the whole time you're filming, they make you do like these like listening shots for audio. I don't know if you guys do this on the podcast just to get like audio, like fill in audio. So like, we're going to do some quick listening shots. Like, Eric, you talk, Gina, you're going to listen, but, and you're just like exactly what you're doing, like neutral listening. So we catch all these at the end of like every scene. Well, what we don't realize is that they can plug the listening shots like wherever they want to put a listening shot. So for me to say like, I'm not really into gingery features, and him to say like, oh, that's cool, I'm not into blondes. Well, what he actually said was silence. And so, which speaks volumes. Like, so right. To the viewer, it looks like I'm not into you. And he's like doing this, like in such shock that he's just at a loss for words. When in reality, that wasn't what Payne does. So that was like a whole different, watching it back. Like I said, on Lifetime, it airs in real time every Wednesday, and we didn't see anything before. So like we watched it with the general public every week and saw this like edited version of ourselves, and we just, it was a ride. It was quite the experience. Yeah.
Cringe-tastic.
It was 100%. You're mad the first month, and then you're like, I'm ready to see what kind of drama they like, spook up in there. So it was interesting.
Wow. Okay. Well, you answered my other question, which was how bad do they screw with you with the editing? Because I know that happens.
That was it. I mean, it's interesting. I think everyone probably goes on reality TV being like, oh, I wasn't that bad. Like, I thought I was going to get this like incredible edit. And I saw certain things and I was like, oh no, that looks so bad.
Wow.
But you just have to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, no matter what type of edit anyone gets, people are just going to be nasty on the internet and on Reddit, no matter what. So it's like you kind of put yourself in that position, and you have to realize like there's the people that are nasty are going to be the ones on the internet. But I mean, to your point earlier, I haven't had a ton of marketing, and I honestly didn't know if I would have anything from going on that. And that wasn't really my goal. But at that point I was like, I felt booked and busy. It's like, I don't really need clients from this, but it could be a really cool opportunity. But the clients that I have had that randomly pop in, like I just had one this week, and they're all so nice. So it's been cool to meet those types of connection. My dog played like a huge role on the show too. Oh. So it's fun because people will come in the salon and my dog's like always there. So they're like, Hank, like they love him. That's cool. So that's been fun, more so than the bad ones,
Okay, so you were the entire season, right?
There were 5 couples, yeah.
Oh, there are 5 couples. Mm-hmm. Oh, got it. So they every episode is what, an hour?
Yeah.
And they do a little bit of each of the 5 couples throughout the hour. Mm-hmm. And how many episodes in the season?
I believe there were 32. It started in January.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Started in January and it went through like June.
Wow.
Yeah.
My gosh, that's
it was a lot.
Okay. All right. So Married at First Sight.
I'm always impressed when people binge it. I'm like, what?
Well, that's a monster binge.
Yeah.
You have to be like, dude, you need more to do in your life.
And it is funny. Like I was like you. I was like, nobody watches this show. And I still, like, I was getting my nails done today, and this girl, we, like, started a conversation because she was right across from me, and she was like, are you on a TV show? And I was like, yeah. And she had moved here from California, like, a couple weeks ago, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, you really don't realize how many people, like, I've been stopped in the most random places, like, airports all the time. I'm like, people actually watch Lifetime? Like, I really didn't expect that, but
that's really funny. Well, that's very cool. All right. Married at First Sight, season 16 on Netflix and Hulu and Lifetime for anybody who wants to watch it. All right. You also have a podcast called D-List Diaries. Tell us about that.
So, yeah, we got that name. It was actually funny. My friend Nicole, she's the only one that stayed married. They are still married to this day, her and her husband.
Okay, so hold on.
From the show.
Your co-hosts are also on the show.
Yep.
We're on the show.
Yeah, they both were. So one of them stayed married, the other one did not. But us 3 kind of like dive into some reality TV stuff, some just like life, lifestyle, like fun stuff. But we kind of got the idea because Nicole, one of my friends that is one of the co-hosts, she was at the salon one day getting her hair done, and I had a client come in that was like, oh, I think I need to put my hair extensions in. Like, I'm about to go on Love Island. Like, I'm leaving tomorrow, which is another reality show. And we were like, all right, well, take it from one D-lister to another. like, you need to put the hair extensions in if you're going on reality TV. So it was like this ongoing joke that like, we're so D-list, like it's what it's like to be moderately recognizable. Like maybe someone at Target stares at you for 30 seconds too long. Right. But we're like, we're so far from A-list. So that's why we came up with D-list diaries, because we thought it was funny. But
I love it.
Yeah, we go through a lot of like, kind of recap the seasons that we're watching now and do like behind the scenes stuff and just random life stuff.
And so do you have to get the producers right to or permission to talk about stuff like that?
We don't talk about anything that would like really conflict with our NDA. So okay. Like not too much of the behind the scenes, you know?
Right. Very interesting. All right. Well, I do want to talk about a little bit of hair stuff. How is life behind the chair? Is it your clients are still coming in, and do you notice anything different these days?
Like I said, I've been really focusing so much on ownership. It's been weird. Like I love doing hair. Like I love my clients. I love doing extensions. I still want to stay behind the chair. Right now I'm at like 2 days. I've actually started opening up a third, but I love that time. I feel like I really love the time that I have with clients that I connect with the most on like a business level. So I'm not as much into the ones like, how's your weekend? What are you doing? Like I want to have like conversation of substance. And so I feel like my clients I'm able to do that with. But I mean, most of it is my girls are all newer. Like Nashville's such a hub. So everyone that I have hired in the last year is like brand spanking new. They just moved here from like Destin or Alabama or wherever it is. So a lot of them are very skilled hairstylists, like experienced, skilled hairstylists, but they don't know a soul. And so I've really been focusing my energy less on my clients and more on like helping them build theirs, which is also new because I haven't had to do that in a long time. Like I've been built for several years. So to start over and be like, how are the kids building these days is a totally new learning curve.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So last time I was in Nashville, I think the first 4 or 5 people that I encountered, whether it was behind the counter at the coffee shop or, the server at the restaurant, they were all from California.
Mm-hmm. We have
this
a lot
of that. This
is probably
a year ago.
We have a lot of that. It's a hub. Nashville's kind of blown up on the map and we love it. I mean, I read some statistic the other day that said, I think we're over like 20 million a day in tourism. Like it is crazy. There's so many people coming here just to visit and it's fun. I mean, it's a fun city. It's like ever changing, but it is one of those things where as an owner, it's difficult sometimes to get stylists because you're like, oh, you're like brand new here and not brand new, like out of school. They don't necessarily know, right? Like when you're out of school, you're like, oh, this is expected. I'm building a book. But when you've been like a seasoned hairstylist and you've built a book of business in another city and then you move and it's like crickets, it's tough on you. So like having to help them like stay confident and be like, hey, like I know this is a slow season, but like we're gonna do it. Like it doesn't mean you're a bad hairstylist if you don't have clients right now. We just gotta like hit the ground running and build back. So that's been more my focus, but I still love those days with my clients, and I've really had to prioritize my time when my clients are there, being like, okay, this is like client time, because it's very easy as an owner to get like distracted, like, hey, can you come see this? Can you come do this? And then all of a sudden you're like walking away from your clients all day. So I've really had to hone in on, okay, these 2 days are my client days. And those are like the days that I'm really giving them the best client experience and not being an owner. So,
yeah, it's a lot of different shoes to fill for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been a fun episode. I love changing it up and talking about the reality stuff and the production and all that. Do you have any last words for the hair community?
Oh my gosh. That's a tough one. I have so many words. I'm a woman of many words.
You can give a lot of last words for the community.
I just think that, I don't know, I've really been honing in on like taking care of yourself and mindset. And I think the hair community has really taken a shift even in the last couple years, and things are changing and you're having to build differently and coming out of crazy economies and all of that stuff. So I don't know. I think just really honing in on the fact that we still work in one of the best industries and to not lose sight of that. Like we truly have it made when it comes to having a career that we can do so much with and have fun and build confidence in. So yeah, just study the course.
I love it. I love it. Truer words have never been spoken. Gina Micheletti, Gina.doesmyhair on the gram. Look her up for anybody who doesn't know her. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
Thank you, Eric. Thanks for having me.